Hey, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Friday to you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this video. This video is just going to be going into a little bit more detail. I recently wrote a letter to a couple of my favorite YouTubers, Melissa Trippy and Phil O'Reilly. I'll have their channels linked down in the description below. And I was telling them a little bit more about myself, and I find myself doing this just as I tell people more about myself. And one of the medical problems that I have, and it's just a lot easier whenever I'm writing somebody to tell them about it, just to say I have vertigo as a short answer, or even when I'm with people, to say, you know, I have vertigo spells, it's not a big deal. But to go into a little bit more in depth, I actually have what is called Meniere's disease. And what that is it's actually a disorder of the inner ear, and I am what is known as bilateral, which means I have it in both ears. And what that is that there is excess fluid in the middle ear, and it causes hearing loss, vertigo, imbalance, and dizziness. So it can get pretty crazy. And a lot of different things can bring this on, especially changes in weather. So, like for example, especially rain, like changes in the barometric pressure just make Meniere's patients just so off balance and crazy. So we are very much in tune to the weather, and we prepare ahead of time. So I know that whenever, rain's coming, I plan to not necessarily not get out of bed, but I plan to not leave my house during that time because I know I'm not going to be feeling good. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I cannot walk 100% of the time, which I do have my good days, but there are times whenever I am literally crawling around my apartment because my dizziness is so bad. I actually, jumping back a little bit, I had symptoms of the Meniere's for 2 years before I was diagnosed. And I started having symptoms at age 16 and was diagnosed at age 18. And at the time, it was actually very rare for people as young as me, which I'm now 30, to be diagnosed with Meniere's. It was actually more common for people in their 60s and 70s to get it versus a young person like me. But now it's more common for younger people to be diagnosed. But anyway, so I do have some hearing loss, and like I said, I do have to be a lot more careful with what I do. And the treatments for the Meniere's, I do have the hearing loss, and I am on diuretics, so I do have to maintain a low sodium diet as well as the diuretics to help maintain the fluid. And I did have to have a surgery where I did have to have a shunt placed in my right ear to help drain the fluid, because that's the ear that's giving me the most trouble right now. So far my left ear is a little bit more stable than my right ear, so that's good news so far. And right now, actually, my Meniere's is considered pretty stable, and while I have gone through balance rehabilitation, I actually do have other obstacles medically that set me back as far as my overall balance issues go, and that is the fact that I was born legally blind. because you rely on your equilibrium as is, and because I was born with a visual impairment already, that makes it that much more difficult. That just adds to it. So I'm not going to be 100% all the time. I do have to walk really slow. And while some Meniere's patients are able to sense whenever they are going to have a dizzy spell or vertigo attack, unfortunately I am not able to tell whenever that's going to happen. And with me, that is what's known as a drop attack. So I can literally be walking or doing whatever I'm doing, and I will just fall to the ground. And yes, I have unfortunately gotten injured. Thankfully, I have not gotten seriously injured. I know some people have unfortunately had head trauma, which I have not had that yet. But like for me, I know whenever I get really dizzy, my father has actually come to my apartment and actually installed one of those shower heads that you can actually take off the wall. That way whenever I feel really, really dizzy, I can just take that off the shower head and just kind of like just bathe myself versus, standing up to take a shower. And that's been really, really helpful. And there are days where I'm literally crawling on my hands and knees, but whenever I feel really good, I do get up and walk around, and I do walk around my neighborhood on the good days. It is recommended that I do walk with somebody, but I can't always do that. I'm an independent woman. I got to do what I got to do, and when I feel good, I'm gonna go out and do what I got to do. That's just my spirit. I love my independence, and I'm gonna do what I got to do. But I just kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit more. I tell people, I have vertigo, but truthfully, it goes a little bit more in depth about that. And I did kind of do a little bit more of like a little poetic description, I guess you could say, at an open mic here in Austin several years ago. It wasn't like a poem, but it was more of a imaginative, I really can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but I will also include that video in the description, and you can provide me your feedback on it. But I'm really thankful to have a great doctor. I do have to travel to see him because he is in San Antonio versus I don't have a doctor here in Austin, but I am stable, so I don't have to go there as much anymore. I was having to go monthly, but now I'm to the point where I have to go every 4 months, so that's good. That actually just occurred, so yay. And my hearing is stable, although there is a loss, but it is a stable loss. They did try to fit me with a hearing aid, but unfortunately there are some complications that prevent me from actually being able to have one, which kind of a little bit TMI to explain, but basically I produce way too much wax in too short of a time to bother with a hearing aid, so that's kind of a little bit embarrassing, but unfortunately there's nothing that can be done about that. My body's just weird, but I try to laugh that off, but that's just me and my weirdness. I'm a weird person, but I'm a happy person, and I live in Austin, home of the weirdness, so I fit right in. But anyway, if you made it through this whole video, thumbs up to you, and I hope everybody has a good day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye!